Guys, this is the best looking comic book that I've ever bought, to be honest with you. And I know it's a graphic novel itself, so it's not a comic book, but seriously, it was packaged well. Look at this presentation. Look at the back of it, this indentation of the main character, Bigfoot Bill, running like that. That's just beautiful. So he used a yearbook service, is what Narwhal Books was telling me. Doug TenNaple used a yearbook service to fulfill this book. And these beautiful indentations here. I mean, this is just gorgeous. It's absolutely, it's absolutely the best thing that I've seen from Comicsgate, and it goes above and beyond. So I had a choice over what I was going to review today. It's raining outside, so I can't use my flamethrower and talk about Apocalypse and the Extracts. Let's just throw that off to the side. So I'm talking about Bigfoot Bill. This is by Doug TenNaple. This is the creator of Earthworm Jim. If you don't know who that is, then you have been living under a rock and you don't play video games, at least not fun ones. So this is a really cool story. I actually didn't expect it to be overall one of the best things I've ever read, and it is. And it's for all ages, so I mean, that's crazy. And all ages stuff I usually pass along to some kids or whatever. This is not getting passed along. This is staying in my collection because it's fantastic. It really is awesome. Look at that quality. I mean, just as soon as you open it up, the binding is perfect. I mean, this is just a flawless book. I could probably read this 25 times and still be in pristine condition just because it's so well made, So to get into this story. And look, of course, he signed it. That's awesome. Still beautiful, this entire thing. This story is really cool. It's about Bigfoot Bill, and this suit that he wears is a sentient creature itself, which is even more fun, because he has to deal with talking to this obnoxious guy that's with him at all times. And he is like an innocent character. He has this awesome kind of innocence to him. And you know what it reminded me of? First off, one of my favorite characters. I know it's silly to bring this to a game, but Final Fantasy IX, it was Zidane that had that just awesome innocence to him. He reminds me of that kind of, only more childlike, to be honest with you. And awesome characterization. I mean, his writing really shows through. He did everything. So just so you know, I respect people who can do art above all other creative design people that exist. When you can write and do art, oh my gosh, if you're the kind of person that does that, like Sean Gordon Murphy or Chip Zdarsky, man, you're awesome. In my book, you're just awesome. Chip Zdarsky wrote my favorite single issue comic book of last year. It was fantastic. And this is maybe one of the coolest things I've ever read in my life. And look, I want to say this as well. You really do have to thank the people who have helped you get to where you are. And this is great. This book is dedicated to Ethan Van Sciver. I want to say this right now. My first comic is going to be dedicated to EVS and Richard C. Meyer for sure, because they've been the inspiration for me to actually care about getting into comics and actually continue writing something other than short stories, because I'm more passionate about comics than any other medium that exists. That's what matters to me, comic books. This is cool. This is one of the perks, and I wanted to, of course, show you this page, and that's why I had this in here. I'm not going to open this. Just like Yellow Flash said, he's not opening his as well. So cool. I mean, this whole entire thing, one of the greatest things about this book itself is there's no lengthy exposition. He's a pro in the industry, so he really knows what he's doing. You say the minimum amount of words and you speak through your art. Show don't tell. I know that's just a cliche, but it's so true. It's one of the most important things, and he really does that very well. There's so much about this book that I like. Like I was saying, I love the innocence in the main character, but this relationship, look, we get a bookmark with it as well, which is pretty cool. This relationship is so cool. So this agent, you find out, he's in love with this other agent, like secretly, He wants to take her out for coffee, and Bigfoot Bill is helping him with his relationship, And they run this thing called the Crypto Zone, which is basically like they keep all of these mythical creatures kind of in that small area in order to contain them, so they don't get out and make a ruckus and make everybody call the police on him and stuff like that. And it's really cool the way that he has that he's so scared to tell her, will you get coffee with me? Get coffee or get married. It's so cute. And she's just totally oblivious to it. Good things happen with this. Again, I'm not going to do any spoilers here in this review. I just wanted to say how cute this is and how important it is to make relatable things like this, because I'm sure, we've all had people that, we really, really like. We've wanted to tell them and we don't know how. And it's just this feeling that you get in your stomach. I got that feeling when reading this book. I really related to these characters a lot. And I related to this agent's, how much, and this is another one of the perks, how much he cared for Bigfoot Bill, and it was really cute. He said, so his boss told him, he's like, listen, this is this is not a spoiler, because again, this is the very beginning of the book. I'm not going to show any of those later pages at all. He says, I can tell that you're troubled. Bigfoot Bill, he actually found a picture. He found out that these people had been lying to him, and he found a picture of his parents. And they had told him, you're the only Bigfoot out there. But he had parents, and it showed a picture of them, and they knew that he wasn't the only one, and they were lying to him about it. So, again, that's only a little kind of tidbit that I'm going to leave in there. As far as storytelling goes, this is fantastic. So you get a lie from the agent. His boss told him, he's like, you have to wipe his memory. But he's like, what are we going to do? He's like, I got to think of something. After all, how can you give me dating advice if I scramble your brain? If this is a prison, we're in it together. Talking about the place that they keep all of these, all of these mythical creatures. We've got a unicorn. We've got some other cool things. The chupacabra is in there. Lots of paranormal references that are really fun. This book, here's the biggest thing that I wanted to say about this, and how much I have respect for what he said here on a live stream with Ethan Van Sciver. He said specifically, he said, I wasn't going to make any money off this. He barely made money off of it. Barely any money at all. And the reason why is he kind of miscalculated his international postage and backing and all of that. And so he kind of lost a little bit. And again, he spent so much money on this book. And people were sending messages after messages, and they were like, listen, I owe you more for this. Look at how gorgeous this book is. Certainly I have to give you more for this book. And he's like, no, thank you for backing it. This book is yours, and it's exactly what I wanted to get you. Again, that's so awesome. And like I said, this is the masterpiece so far in Comicsgate. I can actually expect some other books to be this good as well. I'm looking at some of my favorite artists, and I was just kind of telling one of my favorite YouTubers about who my favorite artists are within Comicsgate. Of course, you've got EVS. A close second, actually, in my mind, from his stuff that he does, is Kanan White. I'm just really, really loving his stuff. You've got Kelsey Shannon doing some amazing work, Mitch Breitweiser, and then John Malin. As far as the art that I've seen, man, those guys really, their art knocks my socks off. I'm super impressed with all of these guys, and there's so many up-and-comers. So I'm excited about this movement. I'm excited about these new comics, and gosh, I'm really excited about this book and how well made it was. Overall, everything about this is great. The storyline, the art, the presentation. I seriously have to give this book a 9 out of 10. I seriously have to give it that. Maybe an 8.9 out of 10 just to be fair, but man, this is good. The best thing Comicsgate has put out so far. Just in first looking at it, and all of it, presentation. It's exciting, guys. All of this stuff is really great when you look at the opportunities that come up when you really have a good marketing strategy, when you're talking about things like comic books and mainstream movies that have to do with comic books. When you're really getting into that stuff on YouTube, you find out that there's a wealth of individuals on here that really want to support each other, be a part of this movement together, and it's really cool. And again, it's kind of like I said, I have so much thanks to give to Ethan Van Sciver, just like Doug TenNaple does, and I want to say thank you, of course, but to all of these guys for being an inspiration, putting out work like this, putting out work like Cyberfrog that I cannot wait to get. It's really exciting. Like I said, If I haven't said it recently and you haven't heard me say it, it's always the same thing. Make art and write. If you're a writer, if you're an artist, keep up the great work and be inspired by all of this stuff because it's really great. You're the gateway into comics.